Welcome back to Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous. This is my weekly vlog, and I am Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo. There's been a lot that's happened the last 14 days around my channel. I've increased my subscribers, another 50 to 75 people. I've put out a lot of videos over the last couple of weeks, most of them based on different things going on with the version 0.9 release. But I also had a couple of big videos released in an interview with Sandy Gardner and one with Ben Lesnick. And there was a lot of things talked about in both of them. So today I'd like to go and touch base on a couple of the things that were gone over in both of them and clear the air and finally put them to rest so I don't have to talk about them as much anymore. But before we do that, I want to talk about my giveaways. Each week during my vlog I give away some hanger flare. And it's given to you from me, purchases made by me, or by donations from other subscribers, but every single one so far has been either purchased by me or donated from the extra one I've gotten each month. So what were we giving away this week? I forget. Actually, we're giving away 3 of the lockers from another universe. One for the Super Hornet giveaway video, one for the Selfland hanger review video, and the other one for the Ben Lesnick interview or conversation talk. I guess it was an interview. So you'll have 3 chances in this episode to win if you had commented in any of those videos. And at the end of this video, I'll tell you what it is for next week. So while I'm racing around the course over here, one of the things that I want to talk about is the way that things have changed somewhat in ship purchasing in the game. When we first started with the, I guess it was a Kickstarter way back when, people were given a moniker of veteran backers, and veterans had some special perks like lower prices on ships for a while, and they were able to get LTI and a couple of other things also, like ships like the 350R were offered to them early, the Idris M. Also, they were the ones that were offered the Scythe, which will never come back again for sale. But there are a couple of things that have changed. LTI is coming back, and limited ship sales now have a new definition. And I don't know if it's a new definition or a new clarification. A limited ship sale is a sale that takes place for a limited amount of time. All ships are going to be limited in numbers in the game. Limited by the amount of resources that the company can gather to make those ships. Limited by the price of the ship and what somebody is willing to pay for it. Limited in a manner of where am I going to purchase that ship. But while ships are for sale in the pledge store, they're limited in the amount of time that they are available, and they will come back from time to time. Now they have changed a couple of other things also. LTI is back, but only on the initial release of any concept sale. So the first time a ship is offered for sale will be called a concept sale. And at that point, if you purchase, you'll get LTI and some hanger flare, a poster, a couple of things that you could see in your hangar before the ship actually comes out. And then when the ship does come out, or maybe before, there'll be a model in your hangar. I need to get some clarification on that. All of this stems from the question behind, what about the M50 and 350R? They were limited ships that were put on limited sale, and they were going to be limited in numbers, but then when this was released, the Murray Cup Arena Commander mode, they tried to make them go on permanent sale. Now, as you see here, this ship does a very good job at flying around this course. I do a piss poor job at flying it, but you'll see later on that I get better. In subsequent videos, the next 2, you'll see me flying an Aurora, and you'll see me flying I guess it's a Hornet. 2 ships that aren't meant for racing, aren't tuned for racing, and they're very easily beaten. So that comes down to this. If I was a backer early on and bought this ship and it was never available for anybody else again until the game went live, all those months that we're waiting to play the game, it means that me, owner of a 350R and an M50 are going to be able to beat you many times over. We're going to stop here for one of the hanger flare contests. Hello everyone, this is going to be the part of the show where we give away the locker from another universe. And I'm going to be doing it in 3 different sections. Once after each one of the sections of my blog today. So here we go. For the first winner, we have these contestants. And we are going to pick a random name for the first one of the lockers from another universe. And the winner is Bond James. You have won the locker from another universe. Please send your in-game handle and email address used for the game to theaddictedgamer@gmail.com. Thank you and congratulations. So I was just saying that if I was somebody that purchased early, I was going to be able to beat you almost every time. And in this video, you see what I'm talking about. Here I am in the Aurora. Now, there are a couple of crashes I have in this because it's the first time I've flown the Aurora, and you got to get used to the way a ship handles as you're going around these turns. But nonetheless, no matter what I did, if this was the only ship I owned and I wanted to race, it would be a very, very, very bad experience for me to partake in the racing simulation within the Arena Commander game. Now, Arena Commander is a game on its own. It's a game that will exist in the Persistent Universe. And because I can't buy a Persistent Universe ship, I can't compete with those people that are in front of me that are in M50s, 350Rs, and other ships. But this is one of the modes that we're trying to push right now. One of the modes that, well, the mode that Sandy Gardner said was going to have esports in it coming next year. So because I either A, didn't have the $120, $145, whatever it might be, to purchase the 2 racers, I'm not going to be able to compete and I'm not going to be able to partake in that game. Now, CIG has stated that they have other ships in the pipeline and that the Mustang will soon be out. But isn't the Mustang a replacement or a somewhat of a competitor to this ship, the Aurora? Does that mean there'll be an engine that they'll give us for the Aurora to make it competitive in this game? I don't know. But without those questions answered, because at this particular point we don't know how the Mustang Racer is going to act. All we can say is that because me and other people were able to buy this M50 and 350R Racer when it was put for sale, we're going to have an edge on some other players. I don't agree with that, but I do agree with it because the way Ben explained it to me is they took the moral high ground. They had stated that those ships were going to be limited in numbers and they were going to sell them in limited numbers, and then they went back on it for Arena Commander and made them, well, prevalent, or they made them so you can fly them all the time. So my question would be, as I crash this ship again, since the Persistent Universe isn't around right now, wouldn't it have been easier just to sell $5 passes, $10 passes, to be able to use the ship in Arena Commander only? Wouldn't that have been a solution? I didn't pose it to Ben because it took me a while of reading through so many of the responses to my thread in general chat before I was able to actually come up with this particular fix. If this is a game within a game, and the game within a game is going to be where we're going to be able to have esports, then sell me the ship to fly in this racing mode at a much lower price, where it's only available in the racing mode and not my hangar and not the PU, so I can compete in racing with everybody else. I think that's a fair compromise for everybody that wants to keep their ship limited in the universe and those that want to play this game. And that's all I think I have to say on that. In the meantime, I want to talk about some other things too. So we're going to close out that subject, and the next subject that we're going to talk about is advertising. Now, one thing that sparked the controversy over it was the AMD R9 livery for the new Mustang Omega. People don't want to see outside advertising in the game. But there are opportunities that I think exist in this game for advertising to exist. And it would be within this game within a game. If CIG is actually going to have a tournament, they need to have sponsors. They need to have venues. They need to have prizes. They need to have a forum to hold it. And they need to get the players involved from A to B. Now let's stop here for another one of my giveaways. Welcome back for the second one of the drawings. And we're going to pull from these names over here. And let's see who wins. Alright, we got all the names in there. And we're picking now. AAGIUS. Agius? 88. Congratulations, you are the winner of the second locker from another universe. Please send me your in-game handle and email address used for Star Citizen to theaddictedgamer@gmail.com. Again, congratulations. I thought about this a lot, and I don't think it would be unfair to see lots of different advertising around the race course, kind of like you do in a NASCAR game, or in a FIFA game, or in a Madden game, or in an NHL game, or an MLB game. If it's a sports game, I don't think that there should be any problem with it. On the other hand, if I'm walking around in the persistent universe, I don't want to see Coke, I don't want to see Burger King or McDonald's, I don't want to see Walmart, I don't want to see any of those things. I'd like there to be some in-game type advertising that you might feel is believable, but to have the outside world infringe upon my escape, my beautiful different universe that I want to be in, I don't think I want that. So it's not a compromise, it's something that I think makes a lot of sense. So in the parts of the game that are going to be commercialized, where you can actually make some money and fight against other people or play against other people, race against other people, I think that that's a fair bit understandable. But putting advertising in my game, putting advertising in the way of the things I look at, I don't think I'd like to see. This is my Hornet crashing all over the place. It didn't actually maneuver as well as my M50, and since my 350R hasn't been unlocked now, I don't know how well that's going to be. So that's what I have to say about advertising. I think it does make a lot of sense in some ways, in some places that makes sense. I know that is kind of a double statement there, but I think it's a good way of thinking. The next subject I want to talk about is alpha versus beta. So while I was talking to Ben, he did explain it to me. When you're an alpha, it's all of the parts of the game are done, but they're broken and they need to be fixed and made workable. So we still stand in pre-alpha right now. Now that doesn't mean that Arena Commander itself is alpha. It means that the whole universe, the whole game is alpha. Each module that comes out can be a beta test. Yes, there's a lot of confusing things in this. But one of the key things that we're all supposed to be doing here is looking at the game and helping to get it fixed. I've heard too many comments about what's broken and how this is lame and I don't believe this. And it really doesn't make sense to me, because this is definitely a work in progress and they're learning from their mistakes and they're making things better. And I really, really, really like that. I love that they learn very quickly how to make this game much more fun. So one of the other things I want to talk about is the genre, the space genre. When I first started playing video games years ago, it really did center a lot around different flight sims and space sims. Everything from Elite, which was my most favorite, to Flight Simulator. I remember buying it for my Amiga for the first time. Yes, it used to be on the Amiga because it used to be a BAO Simulations, Bruce Artwork organization, before Microsoft took them over, destroyed them, and tossed their Hulk on the ground and got rid of everyone that worked on the game. But I did a lot of space-based games, and Elite was one that I spent a lot of my time in until Chris Roberts came along. And it was the Wing Commander franchise that did it for me. That was the one that solidified it, that moved me away from my Amiga into the PC, that taught me that performance of a computer was important, and it was why I built the first computer I ever built, which was a 386 DX40, which I had for the original Wing Commander game. And I still kept my Amigas. I am a dual computer person now. I have my Macs, and I have my one Windows computer for gaming. But it was really amazing, and I loved it. Now, the gameplay was set apart, and I became a Chris Roberts fan very quickly, getting the Secret Missions discs going and getting Wing Commander 2 and 3 and 4 and Privateer 2 The Darkening, which his brother Aaron made, and then following him over to Digital Anvil and getting Starlancer, which is still an amazing game if you can get it to run on your computer, and then Freelancer, which was his game made by Microsoft. He had already left to do the Wing Commander movie. So I asked Ben what would happen if EA did hiccup and give back the Wing Commander franchise. Would anything change with this game? Would Chris do another game? And he said Chris would probably wind up doing another game, which made me start thinking. Now, EA just closed down Origin. We saw that on Around the Verse, and they had some really cool stuff. Well, actually, that was on 10 for the Chairman. They had some really cool stuff that they gave away. And I'm one of these people that I love nostalgia, and I love the old games, and I play them on good old games. We're going to stop here, and we're going to give away yet another piece of Hanger Flag. Welcome back to the last drawing for this episode, and we're going to pull from these names right here. And pick the winner. And here we go. Citizen Hans, congratulations on being the last one of the winners in today's contest. And for that, all you have to do is send me your in-game handle and email used for the game, and I will send you the locker from Another Universe. Thank you so much for participating in the contest, everybody. And at the end of the show, I'll be announcing the contest for next week. Thank you. So I repurchased the whole package of Chris Roberts games from Good Old Games when they were selling the package for something like $10 or $20. And I started playing the games again and absolutely fell in love with them. After talking to Ben, I went back and played it yet again. And it's made me start to think, would anybody out there join me in creating an open petition to send to EA to see if they can give back or allow Chris to repurchase the Wing Commander franchise from them, since they will not do it any justice, and since he owns the rights to the movie, building anything on the game really doesn't matter. Well, it probably does, but I think it's just one of these who's got the bigger manhood, and that's why they're keeping it from him. I would not expect it to go anywhere. I would expect it to fail outright. But I think it would be a good gesture for us who love this game and find admiration in everything Chris Roberts does to try to help him get back what he created so long ago. So if you want to join me, comment below, and let's discuss how we can do this. How can we create that open letter, that petition, and get it started to try to get EA to either give back or allow Chris to get the Wing Commander franchise back? I think that would be an amazing second SC birthday gift to give on the 10th of October. So if you think that we can get this letter going, please just comment below. Now let's talk about the ships that I started talking about in the beginning. So there's 2 different racers available right now. I haven't flown the 350R, but I'm kicking a 350R's butt right now in this mode. This is one of the harder racing modes. This is the first time I've ever played it. I think there's some 24 odd gates to go through, with the 24th one being the finish line. There's 3 laps. This reminds me more of a twisty, curvy F1 race than it does a NASCAR race. And that's what I was trying to say before. That first race that you pick, that figure 8, is more built for a 350R. So almost every time you're going to see 350Rs winning that race unless you get a really skilled M50 pilot. But in this race, I think it's going to be more an M50 winning it most of the time, because it's got a much more curves and relies more heavily on the ability to maneuver, keep your speed up in the turn, which the M50 has, and to accelerate back up to full speed, which the M50 has. Which is why I said owning both racers is going to be a good thing. The figure 8 track could get very boring after a while, and after playing this one through a couple more times after this race, I find this one to be exciting. White knuckled, meaning you're grabbing the stick so hard you can see your knuckles turning white. But it's very fulfilling, very rewarding. And I just love the way that the ship handles in here. Now, some of the things that I've noticed, so this is going into more of a review to close out my blog this week, is that I get a lot of lag, and I'm sure it's my internet at this point because I'm using a power line adapter and it hiccups every now and then, and I need to fix that. I need to get the internet from my downstairs office across the house to the top floor over my garage where my studio is. Once I do that, I think that lag will be gone. It cost me a couple of seconds in one race and cost me a crash in another. A few other things that are happening here in this race. Those gates just are not opening fast enough. I don't know if they're supposed to or not. When you first start the race, they open really fast, but as the race goes on, they start to open slower and slower, creating a smaller and smaller hole to go through. Tell me if that's the case. Is that something that's supposed to happen? I don't even know what I hit there. That was just nuts. So is that something that's supposed to happen? I don't think I die in this race until the very end. I think it comes from nerves of, having my nerves rattled. Oh, I went off the grid here, and I think I do kill myself just to get back on the grid again. I'm so far off the grid, I don't know what's going on, so let's kill myself. Yep. So I did die in this one. It was because I got thrown off the grid, and watching this a second time, I see where I was supposed to go. This was my first time through. So my overall experience with racing so far has been actually quite delightful. There are some pressing issues that do cause me to have some concern over its playability in the current version. I still get about 3 out of 5 times no match found. We're getting into a match that I sit where I'm the only person for a really long time. Man, I forgot I died that many times on this one run. I guess it's because I had such a great last run that I didn't think I died, or I should say last lap. So I just don't know if they're going to be able to get everything fixed, because it seems to be server side and a couple of other glitches. Now, I was kind of harsh in this, saying that it wasn't realistic at all, and I'm kind of happy about that. You're not really flying here. It's acting more like you're in space. But I love the scenery and think that they did it very well. The only reason I crashed there is because the doors were not opening. That gate was not opening the way it should have. I'm very impressed with the graphics here. The graphics are just outrageously incredible. I think that they are some of the best things I've seen in-game in a long time. I do believe that the flight model, though, is more geared towards space. And when I talked to Ben in my interview, we talked about other modes that they might have in the future. And he said, yes, there would be other tracks. There is going to be a space-based race. But in the same breath, he also said they would be adding more realism into this part of the race, this part of the game, as it went live. The only reason that there is not full realism in this one, and the way they got it by Chris, was by saying that this is a game in the game. It's not the game itself. A lot of these crashes I have at this point, or these bumps, are because those gates are not opening. I've had a great time playing. I found that the 350R kicks my butt a lot. The M50, I guess the 3 times I played this match, I've raced against myself twice because I had somebody that ditched me twice, and raced against this guy in a 350R once. So I'm 3 for 3, even though 2 never finished and 1, he probably was in the same boat as me, racing in this mode for the first time ever. What am I looking forward to in the future? Well, with this, I'm looking forward to more racers. I can see upgrading some of the current airframes for racing, but I had to think about what's out there and what could be fun to race in. The Gladius and the Gladiator could be some awesome racers. The Gladiator is a twin-engine bomber that's really light and small, and the Gladius is a single-engine fighter that's really light and small. I think both of those could be updated as racers that they could probably implement very quickly into the game, and after implemented would be a lot of fun to play with. The Mustang, however, as much as I love it and as batty as it looks, because it looks like a bat and I'm Batgirl, I think it's awesome, I'm not sure how that is supposed to fit in. As a starter ship, it's going to be inexpensive, supposedly, in the same price range as the Aurora. But you don't see Aurora ships, like Aurora race ships. I couldn't see that as being one of the cool ships running around this race course. In fact, as an Aurora owner who plans on using it in the early game, I still think it's an ugly ship, and that it would probably be the least likely one for me to use. These gates still aren't opening very well. I think I got it down, and I'm going to shoot for the middle every time now, just so I don't have another run like I did before. So what racer would you like to see? Think about all the current ships that you have. We have the Aurora, the Cutlass, still not in, the Avenger. I think that would be an amazing racer, right? The Hornet, it's a big, heavy ship. I think that would be a great racer for maybe the figure 8 mode if you could put a really souped up engine on it. I think one of the ships that's going to be awesome in this mode is going to be the Xi'an Scout, the Car 2. And what about letting the Scythe owners on the track and letting them fly it as a racer? I don't know how fast that ship is or how maneuverable it is. It is in game, it's just not available to fly at this point. Though we fly against them every day. I wonder why that is. Why those people that have purchased a Scythe can't get in them and fly. So let me throw another one at you. Make the gates a little bit bigger, elongate out the course. What about Freelancer racing? Or how about Constellation racing? Or the Aegis Dynamics Retaliator racing? Multiplayer ship racing, that would be amazing. Maybe that's something that we're going to see in the space-based racing mode that they told us that we would be having. Well, who knows? All I know is that I'm very much in love with this game at this point. And I'm loving this mode, and I can't wait to see what else they do. I'd love to see them have more tracks, and I'm sure that is on its way. These guys at Foundry 42 have really hit it out of the park, and I absolutely love this mode. So we talked about a lot today. I clarified the limited ship fiasco with the M50 and the 350R. I talked a little bit about the in-game advertising that we have going and where I think it makes sense to put it and why I don't want it in other places. I talked about racing and a couple of other things. I'm having a great deal of fun in the game and loving it more and more every day. I have another Let's Pew Pew video coming rather soon, and it's going to be featuring the co-op Vandal Swarm mode, which I found to be very exciting and fun. First time I ever got to the end, and I needed to do it with friends, and that was awesome. So let's talk about tomorrow's video. It will be episode 46, which puts us 6 episodes away from episode 52. In just about a week, it will be my 1-year anniversary of doing Star Citizen AA. I'm going to make it official on the 10th. That seems to be right about when I did it last year, even though I renamed a couple as SCAA 1, 2, and 3. It was really, I believe, the 4th one where it came into its own. So I'm trying to think of what I can give away for that, and it's not going to be that big since a freelancer MIS is being given away for my 1500th viewer or 1500 viewers contest. Maybe what I'll do is I'll leave it up to you. What package should I give away for my 1-year anniversary, which will be coming up in a week, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to hold it out to the 52nd episode, okay? With that said, I guess it's time to talk about the next Hanger Flare contest. I think that I'm going to continue the run on the lockers. I think that they're amazing. I think there's so much nostalgia inside of them that people that love Chris Roberts games need to have one. So I will be giving away yet another locker, and I'm going to be giving away a second piece. I'm going to be giving away a jukebox, but they're going to be 2 different giveaways. You need to comment separately. I want to win the jukebox. I want to win the locker. And that's it. And that's what I want you to do for the next Hanger Flare contest. And now before I go, I want to give you some other places that you can see here and, well, listen to me. I guess that's a good thing. Coming up very shortly, because tomorrow I will be recording with Sunny's Diner. They're having me on as a guest. Every Friday, I'm live on Twitch on the Ladies of the Round Table channel. I guess that's what they call it over there. We have a show with Carmen and Pixie and myself every week. And I'm trying to kick Dr. Hawk's butt and my own because we both suck at scheduling this. But we need to get Star Citizen Informer back up and running. So we will be having some more Star Citizen Informer podcasts coming your way. Please just keep on sending myself and Dr. Hawk email to make sure that we get that done. And that's all I got for you this week. So with that said, you all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.